Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and I'm with the Living Archives Project, where we are collecting stories of how COVID-19 impacted various communities in Charlotte-Mecklenburg County. Today is February 14th, 2023. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's to you, too.
And this week, there were 164 reported cases of COVID-19 in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg County area, which actually shows a 23% decrease over the last 2 weeks. Therefore, each subject is comfortable not wearing a mask. Melanie, would you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Melanie Dunston. I am an African-American, dark-skinned female. I'm 55 years of age. I have 2 children. I'm about 5'6", and I use a wheelchair.
Okay.
It's a manual wheelchair, not electric, and I get by with my wheelchair.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing, and thank you for taking this time to connect, Melanie.
Sure.
So tell me, are you from Charlotte, or did you move here?
So I'm a transplant. I'm originally from New York, Flushing, Queens, New York, and I've been here for 12 years.
Okay.
And I live in a home of my own. I purchased it about, 11 years ago. I lived in an apartment, and when I came to Charlotte, and I said I just don't want to live amongst people on top of me making noise.
Yeah.
And this was really the next best thing that I could do. This is a big purchase, so I was happy to get this house.
That's amazing. Well, you have a beautiful home.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what brought you to Charlotte?
Well, I was doing administrative nursing in New York, in the Bronx, for adult rehab. My mom was a director of nursing, and I was working with her for over 14 years as administrative unit manager. I was one of the youngest unit managers in that nursing institution, and I got sick. I got sick with a thing called pseudotumor, which is hypertension of the brain. And I also had some knee issues and bone on bone. And I decided to just do disability, full disability. And when I finally did get full disability, I had a decision to make with my debilitating physical being to either stay in New York or to move abroad. And I decided to move a few places, but this place was the most conducive place because of weather, the culture here, right? I love arts. I really love arts, and I decided to pick Charlotte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so sorry to hear about all that you went through.
Thank you.
But also, so thankful that you are here in Charlotte.
I am here, and I'm really enjoying the ride here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Melanie, tell us. We did an activity together before the interview called a hand map.
Yeah.
Is there anything from your hand map that you would like to share?
Wow, I didn't know, it's a lot of positive things here. So, mother is important, but enough was really good. And what was the other one? Fearless. Yeah. So it was a lot of feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And tell me about some of the journeys that kind of brought you here in this season of life.
Being sick.
Yeah.
So being sick, I'm so used to being a New Yorker, and I didn't know anything about the country. I just knew nothing about the Bible Belt. I used to hear those kind of things, discrimination. Where I'm from in Flushing, New York, we just lived in one big melting pot. Everybody lived together. They were your neighbors. They were your teachers. I never really had any discrimination problems until I came to the South.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you share about that? What did you experience in the South?
Division, people just acting differently from different areas. The Outer Banks is different than Charlotte. Ballantyne can be kind of different than Charlotte. Charlotte has a bad connotation of crime, drugs, and race relations, those black people that live in Charlotte. I would actually hear people talk about it. And not just non-black people, Black people would talk about it because it's a certain, I guess, the have and the have-nots. Like if I live in Ballantyne, I have a little more than the people in Charlotte. So they can be black or white or any color, but it was just basically, what's your zip code?
Yeah.
Yeah. And my zip code is very different. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what brought you to your zip code, to your neighborhood in Charlotte?
Prices.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't have been able to have a house until I came to Charlotte. Mm-hmm. In New York, they're just too expensive. Yeah. They had different programs and different incentives to buy a house in this area. They said at one point it's not the most desirable area, so they would give you money to buy here because of the, I guess it's like a area in risk. Okay. And I bought into that, and I've been very happy since I've been living here for about 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're happy with the community, and you've been able to build relationships?
Yeah. More than New York. Like, I was surprised to be a transplant and have such a more fulfilling lifestyle with community, with civically, politically. I just did so much. I had a good life, but when I came here, I had more community-based and relationships with people. Not just the work and clocking in, but actually doing things for free, which is volunteer work, and being a civic leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about that. You volunteer and you're a civic leader.
Okay, so I came to Charlotte because I was sick, and I still had a lot of resources to give to the community. I had a lot of education to help other people in the community, and I wanted to give back. Even though I was sick, I still had a lot of time. I was retired, disability, Social Security disability. So I said, well, what am I going to do? And I decided to volunteer with Community Relations of Mecklenburg County. And they had a basic mediation course, and I took it. And they said, would you like to come to the court and do some cases? And first it was tenant and landlord cases, and I was like, oh, this is a lot, Mm-hmm. And it's not really fast. So what else do you have here? And they said, you have private warrant court and criminal court. That's what I like. So I said, let me get into that. And so what you do is you start your hours with a seasoned mediator, and they kind of let you watch them. And then after you watch them a couple of times, they watch you. Okay. And you do your hours with them, and then you get to do it by yourself. And I've been doing it 7 years now. Wow. And I'm a seasoned mediator, and I teach other mediators. So that's one thing that I do with the community. And then I'm on just a host of different boards. I also do ABC evaluations for what is it called? Not in kind, letters of intentions. Okay. So if people want to get a grant, from different organizations that are nonprofit, we check those grants and letters of intentions and say, is it a go for them to go forward? Yeah. And that's been very rewarding to see what communities have for education or prevention measures, mm-hmm. For medical reasons. And I mean, Mecklenburg County is big, but it's also small. You get to know your neighbors in the community, and not just your neighbors in your home community, but in the outer work community too. Yeah. So I get to know a lot of people that way. Amazing. Yeah.
Wow, you do so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Melanie, tell me a little bit about the past 3 years.
Wow.
How has COVID-19 impacted you?
It's a lot of division. So I can tell you the beginning of what I saw. And one day I came home from court, and I had the TV on, and I said, wow, King Kong, it's in China or Japan. It's something's Asia, and they're running and they have masks. And I said, that's a subway. That's not King Kong, because I don't think they had subways. And I'm saying, is this real life? Mm-hmm. And for Sarah, for like 15 minutes, I'm like, is it the Twilight Zone? Is it streaming? Or is it real TV?
Wow.
I came from 9/11 from New York, and I remember being on the nursing unit, and I was with the patients, and we were watching, it was breakfast time, and we were watching the plane go in, just like that. So that was surreal, and I almost got triggered from that because I said, I know mentally what I'm watching is the news, and it's real, and it's now. It might not be here, but they're talking about airborne something. It's coming. And I just knew I am scared.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I remember, watching something on TV that looked like a movie and it was real life.
Man,
Yeah.
that's overwhelming.
It was a lot. It was a lot because I knew it wasn't just me, it was everybody. You know, sometimes they talk about a different country and Ebola, that was Africa and it's those people. But this was everybody, white, black, lesbian, straight, everybody, children, no one was exempt. And I finally felt we're all in it, but we're all scared, right? And so that was scary for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, in terms of, that was the initial shock of COVID.
Yeah.
And then it was probably a few months later that it hit Charlotte.
Well, it was talk. And then people were really trying to decipher, because this is all new for everybody.
Yeah.
So like I tell people when I did a paper in college, they were like, oh, well, I would never take this to avoid that. And I said, but you did already. When we were kids, we take the DPT, the polio, the rubella. We did all that. COVID is new, and we don't know the outcome. So we're going to either take it, risk it, take it, or we're just going to wait. And a lot of people waited and got sick and died. So that was scary because now which medication? And who's taking which medication? So again, the have and the have-nots came because as an African-American woman, we know about the syphilis, right? And people, the Tuskegee, right? So that was a conversation with some Black people that didn't maybe know better, or because of that history, because of their age, I'm not taking anything. But I had to say, as a person that knows nursing, that knows medicine, that maybe I have to get immune to it and catch a little bit of something. And if I do catch it, I didn't know what to expect because we knew people were dying.
Yeah.
And so I had to either get with the mask or not the mask. It was a hand wash. It was a lot of things to do. And I just decided to take the shots. So I decided to take the shots, but I wanted to wait to see who was taking what. So then I heard about the Pfizer, and then I heard about the Moderna. And then the Johnson & Johnson came up. And I knew Johnson & Johnson had a lawsuit. So I knew I didn't want to take them. And they really weren't first. But it was optional. People were holding out. And some people took that one. I got the Pfizer. I wanted to see who was taking it. And I thought the people that, had the highest risk were taking the best. So I wanted to take the best. So I took the Pfizer and I took the booster. But when it came down to the third booster, people were having complications. And I didn't take the third booster. I took everything else, 2 boosters, the initial Pfizer 2, but I never took the third because I heard people were having a lot of complications.
Yeah.
And I'm already a high-risk person. I don't know where that would go. I'm overweight. I have medical issues, so I'm already high risk. I don't know where that would land me with the third booster.
Yeah, for sure. So I know you talked about your volunteer work and working at the Corps as mediator. Was that impacted during COVID?
Definitely. So 2019 was shut down.
Okay.
Yeah. Only thing that continued was domestic violence cases, and they would be heard at the magistrate level. And if they needed to come into court, they would come into court and talk, I guess, with virtually in a safe room. The claimant and the defendant separately. So those were the only court cases, and I don't do domestic violence cases at the court. So I just stopped working because no one knew what was going to happen. Community relations didn't know what they were. So everybody went home and they started doing everything virtual, right? WebEx, Zoom. It was a different world. And we didn't know if we could do certain things with the court. And 2019, they shut down, and then they reopened 2022. And we had those backlog cases. So where you would usually have maybe 75 dockets, we had 180 dockets. And those cases are very complex. They can be scary, they can be minimal, they can be max, where people have assault with a deadly weapon, or harassing threats, or stalking. So those people didn't see those people for 2 years. So now you're coming in an environment where you're already scared of that person you haven't seen in 2 years. The case is old. You're seeing people that are bringing people to the court that maybe shouldn't be involved. And they're scared, and I'm scared. Those people don't elect to be masked. Those people are usually very sick still, and they're coming in sick because they don't want to be penalized for not coming in. And they're coughing and sneezing, and it's a closed area. And nobody knows what we're doing. We know that we're here, we showed up, and we're here to do cases, but we don't know what kind of precautions to take other than the mask, the shield, the hands. It was a lot. And to me, when I do mediation, I like to see people's expressions. And when you have a mask that covers your mouth, I don't know who's lying, who's telling the truth. So I tell people, do you mind removing the mask? Because I needed to see them, and I'm a very visual person. And most people don't mind. So we had a big backlog coming back in 2022.
I can't believe almost 2 years.
It's been almost 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot has changed.
And now do you feel like the court is still struggling to fulfill all the backlog, or are they pretty much...
People are talking, that's their story. Like I'm telling you my story. I'm hearing people's stories. And it's not just hearing the complaints and the resolution. I have to I'm also a mental health facilitator, and I'm hearing people's stories, and I have to be very mindful, and I'm listening so they have a chance to be heard. And because they haven't had anyone to listen, right? And the other party, I'm telling them, let's try this, and I want you to listen. You guys it couldn't work for you before, but in this arena, we're going to try something different. And it's been really good. We resolve a lot.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I bet so many lives are impacted.
I think they are. A lot of families. And we have a lot of family issues. Yeah.
Also, during the last few years, when COVID kind of happened, and then there's a lot of other things that happened, life kind of slowed down in a way.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of social justice movements.
Yeah.
How did that impact you?
Wow, I didn't know which one to pick. So like if it's for the big girls, I could be on that protest. If it's for disability, but I got sick myself with COVID, and nothing else mattered. It was just me and my fear, what I was going through. Did I have a metallic taste in my mouth? Could I smell? Because I heard all these things from other people, but now I finally got affected. And I didn't want to be involved with anything else other than me getting better and not getting sicker, right? So, yeah, nothing else really mattered. I know there was a lot of things going on in the world, like a lot of shootings, a lot of race relations, a lot of... That's a lot of things going on. And I was following it, but those things that I would really usually be protesting and being more involved in, it took a backseat. It was all about me, to be honest with you. COVID was very scary and very real to me because I also have my own health issues. Yeah.
Do you feel that COVID, or the impact that COVID had on offices being shut down, doctors' offices maybe having to have restrictions, and do you feel like that impacted you, especially as one who has more needs than others?
Yeah, it did. I'm happy that I can get around with my wheelchair. I have a second wheelchair in my car. And even though it's a manual wheelchair, I'm able still to get in my car and be independent, and get my wheelchair when I need it to go to and from a store or go to another location or to a park. That was freedom, but some people couldn't do that. Some people had to rely on CAT's system, and that wasn't easy for those people that couldn't go get the tickets. The drivers were scared, and CATS wasn't so quickly to take passengers. So those people had to be kind of at home and stuck. I really wasn't stuck. So even though I have a mobility issue, I was very free because I have my independence with my vehicle.
Yeah, that makes sense. In terms of who supported you in the last few years? Who was there for you?
I have a great group of friends, but they were all worried about themselves too, and we worried about each other. I have great girlfriends, great guy friends, and good family. My mom is great. My dad died recently, a few years ago now, and I was really scared for my mom too because she's in another state, and she's older.
Is she in New York?
She's in Florida.
Florida.
Yeah, she retired to Florida. And she's alone now because my dad died. So she's going through her own grief, but then she's going through her own fear alone in her home, you know. And that was scary for me. And I think just not talking about it to not make her uncomfortable, we just kind of acquiesced and just said, you know what, we're just going to call each other every day, twice a day, and make sure I check in with her, she check-ins with me, and make sure everybody's okay.
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful that even though you guys are separated by distance, you can still support one another.
Definitely.
That's lovely. Melanie, is there anything else that you would like to share with us? Maybe a story or an experience?
I really wish, Sarah, at one time that maybe the city and the health department would have came physically more in the communities that couldn't get their information the same way everybody could get their information. So you have a population in my area, mostly older, mostly people of color. Most of these people don't have older children. They live far away, and they're older in their homes. And I don't think they were getting the information or even materials to come to their homes. You know, everybody is not able to go on a phone and order something. Everybody doesn't have a computer, right? Everybody doesn't have Wi-Fi. So I really wish they would have kind of triaged the people in the community and said, you know what, this is a different population and we have to communicate with them differently. That's what I really was hoping. And it has happened. And because I'm at a level of being able to talk and speak out for those kind of people, people hear me, you know. So it's getting better.
Okay. I'm glad to hear it's getting better.
Yes.
But hopefully that it continues to get better.
Yeah.
And the growth continues, and the voices that aren't typically heard get heard.
Yeah, that's what I hope.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to share before we finish?
No, it's just been wonderful.
Yeah,
this has been wonderful, this opportunity. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.